MONERO 64 here, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Hello, everyone. I've got my MONERO 64 cap. We've got 24 people here so far. Mark W. Can you guys hear me well? In Seattle is the morning. Here it's 9 p.m. London time. SW, nice hat. Yeah, I also designed, this is someone else gave me this, but I've designed a hat very similar to this on the it's in the Teespring store if you're interested. And I've got 20% off until the middle of March. You just have to use the promo code winter 2020 and you get 20% off the cap. Aaron Levy said he loved the interview with Lynette. Thank you. I enjoyed it as well. Looks like the sound sounds good. John Ainsworth likes the hat. MONERO 64. Yeah, you can buy a white one and a black one in the Teespring store if you're interested. And as I said, there's 20% off everything for about a month. Just use the promo code winter 2020. The title of this live stream is about the mystery increase in exports of gold in the UK at the end of 2019. It was actually caught by someone from Sky News. One of you guys sent me this story earlier this week. Zero Hedge is covering it. It says the multi-billion dollar mystery of Great British gold sale. So what this sale did was to artificially increase UK exports. And it was the first time in recorded history that UK had a trade surplus, but it doesn't mean the UK economy is doing well. I read through the article. The interesting thing at the end of the article, I'm going to come to that in a minute before I see who's here and say hello to everyone. So Aaron Levy said hi already. Wendell from Mississippi. Hi, Wendell. Isabella from Austria. David Bradley. All good with the transmission. That's good. Vishizwa from Seattle. 1 p.m. there. Marek Kalenda. Fed Central Bank could be negative this year to stimulate U.S. economy. While they could be negative, I'm not sure it will stimulate the economy, negative interest rates. We've seen that in Japan and in Europe. It hasn't worked. Megan took the gold to Canada. No, I don't think that's what it was. I'll come to it in a minute. And I think it's a very interesting reason why it happened. The gold didn't even actually leave the UK, and we'll come to that in a minute. Hi, Pablo. Nice to see you. Roland Musso, the hat causes a good golf swing. I'm not too sure. Yeah. Maricolin thinks the Chinese could sell off some of their U.S. treasuries to help them go through the slowdown. That is possible, but if they do decide to sell a few of their treasuries, I'm sure the Fed will be there to sweep it up. I think rates are going to stay low. Cav 369, U.S. markets will break records this week. News of coronavirus declining. Possible. Don't say China, you might be demonetized. Yeah, I think you can't say that thing that starts with the C. That's what I need to be careful with. 903 Boulder, sunny Michigan today. Hi, Mr. B. Yeah, Billy is here. It hasn't been sunny here. It stopped raining a few hours ago, but it was raining all day here. Not very nice at all. We've had, I think this is one of the wettest winters we've had in a long time. It's been raining a lot. Lynn Gordon just watched the movie McKenna's Gold. I haven't watched that. Is it good? throw in a little humor about the golf swing. Well, my golf swing isn't bad. I mean, I'm my strength is my not distance, but my I'm quite straight. I don't really miss fairways that much. General Stack, what would be the impact of consumer panic in the USA and Europe on gold, silver prices? Could store shelves start emptying as the supply chain grinds to a halt? It definitely could. On gold, I think gold is always a good thing to have when there's uncertainty, either through inflation or deflation. And certainly shelves being empty is not good. Not sure if we're going to get to that point, even though today's economies run on a very up to the minute, like just-in-time delivery and a lot of credit. So it is possible. JN, looking forward to anything from you. Aaron Levy, negative rates can work for certain people. I have an 820 credit score. Most people can't say that. I'll stop using banks and pay bill money for orders if they go negative. I don't think I probably don't have a credit score anymore because I don't have any more debt. Iceland, I'm not sure how Iceland is doing economically. They did recover fairly quickly, though, after letting things flush out the system. They also jailed quite a few bankers. They punished the bankers. No flooding here, water shambles. Just big puddles on the roads around here, but no flooding. Isabella, gold and silver prices are still rigged 100%. I have a feeling that the precious metals are starting to do well. I did a video yesterday entitled "A Deflationary Storm is Brewing." Recommend if you haven't watched that. And I talk about how gold actually last week made a high in a lot of different currencies. So I think it's just a matter of time that it will do against the US dollar. I think silver's starting to look good. Gary D, you're not too late. So the title of the live stream talks about this mysterious increase in exports of gold from the UK. So first of all, the gold export is not from the UK. It's not the Bank of England selling gold again like Gordon Brown did. I'll tell you what it is, and I'll put a link to the story in a minute. It says, this is from the guy from Sky News who wrote, or Sky Business who wrote this article. He says, as far as I can divine, here's the answer to this mystery. A US bank with London gold vaults shifted some of that gold from being unallocated to being allocated. And I don't think this guy quite understands what that means, because he actually said they're just shifting it from one balance sheet to the other. But I think it's more serious than that. And I would say that the US bank that has London vaults, of course, is JP Morgan. And the important thing, I think, to look at is the difference between allocated and unallocated gold. So I've got here from Google, and it's from Bullion by Post. This is what they say. An investor in allocated gold is the outright owner of a certain amount of physical bullion. Unallocated metal remains the property of the bank. The investor is essentially a creditor of the bank. Allocated gold is the one true way of owning bullion, while unallocated gold is a way of imitating bullion investment. So I'll put a link to this article for you guys here. I think that is really important. I think what it's showing is that JP Morgan is And I think it's JP Morgan because I don't think there's other US banks that have a vault in London. They're actually taking delivery of real gold. They don't want just the unallocated, and that's very significant. I think it's probably one of the reasons why gold has done so well in price. And we need to keep an eye on these export numbers. So basically, the gold's probably still in London, but now JP Morgan wants the physical gold. And that's why it was considered exports, because it's an American bank. Dave Kiernan from Uruguay. Hi, Dave. Smiley Blue says Switzerland is going to have a referendum reference border control. Yeah, they have. The Swiss use the referendum a lot. Philip Ward, what happens to pound sterling compared to other fiat currencies whose central banks has significantly more? You mean has significantly more gold? I think that's what you mean. Well, I think that's one of the reasons why the pound is over the last 11 years has depreciated quite a bit against the dollar and the euro. I think in 2007-8, 1 pound used to be about €1.60. I know recently, actually, the pound is doing well. We're back from around 110 to around 120 now. So the pound has gone up against the dollar. We made a high in 2007 at $2.11. So you could get $2.11 for a pound. And now we're around 130. That's probably why we don't have as much gold here to back the currency, even though we're not on the gold standard, but it gives the currency more credibility. All it means that by having less gold is that we're more accommodative. It means that we don't value having the safety of gold as much as other countries. So the currency won't be as sound, in my opinion. Just have a sip of water. Yeah, Isabella, JP Morgan silver riggers are under RICO investigation. Smash the like button, says Mr. B, and subscribe. Yes, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. For my UK viewers as well, or all my viewers, I made an interesting video, if you haven't watched, yesterday. It's called HS2, the proverbial gravy train. I've only got 1,800 views, but I think it's really important. I talk about what I think this HS2 is all about, that it's it's not really a project that will help the country, but it will help business interests and the politicians. So I put a link to that video I made yesterday. Some of you might not have seen it. Let's see if I'm just trying to go through if I miss. Hi, Ben Gray, nice to see you. Could some of this physical gold exports possibly come from the LBMA? Yeah, this physical gold is probably coming from the LBMA or the Bank of England. But the thing is, it's not going, it's staying at JP Morgan, but they actually want the physical. But they consider American an export, even though it wasn't shipped there. I think it's significant because this bank, and I think it's JP Morgan because they're the only one who have a vault here, I think, because now they want the physical instead of unallocated. Gaurav Kumar, lots of gold getting smuggled through Dubai. Sender 81, I trade my stocks through Rabobank, but if they go bust, who owns my stocks? Could they confiscate? You have to go, you have to, I'm not sure what happens when a bank fails and if they hold your stock. You probably get it. You're probably safe, but you should ask them. check with them. They might think it's weird for you to ask, but say, no, it's not weird because banks have been failing, for the last 15 years or 10 years, 11 years. Steph Bohr, do you think Money Trader could stop selling silver contract? Force banker buyback short contract. Yeah, it's always a possibility that there could be a short covering squeeze in silver. I think the key level there is 21. Of course, we're not even at 18 at the moment, so it has to go through steps. But silver can move very quickly. It could easily move a whole dollar in one day. I remember silver moving $2 many times in one day, so it could happen very quickly. Pad, the quality of your work has really gone up lately. Thanks for all you do this week. 1588 will hopefully go from resistance support next stop at 1613. Yeah, I'm putting, as I said, a lot more time into the videos. So yeah, I'm dedicating almost all my time now to making the videos. Mario, do you realize 760 million Chinese citizens are under mandatory quarantine and 80% of their manufacturing shut down? I'm surprised you aren't encouraging viewers to dig in and prep for trouble. Well, there's a lot of other YouTube channels who do that. I'm not here to do that. I'm talking more about the finance. I have told viewers about colloidal silver, and that's my little bottle of colloidal silver. I've got more. So what I do every morning is I spray my hand and my face, and colloidal silver is a good protection. And the other thing I've said is be healthy as possible. So I can't do any more. I'm not a doctor. I'm not advising people to use this as well, colloidal silver. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Ben Gray, I like the HS2 episode. Yeah, it was weird, Ben, because I put it on my Facebook Monaco64 page, and Facebook keeps asking me, do you want to boost your post? And usually I don't, so I boosted that. I put 10 pounds to boost the post. And then they came back and said, oh, we've rejected it. It doesn't follow the rules, whatever rules. And I didn't see anything wrong with that. So it looks like Facebook didn't like it, that I'm exposing corruption in this UK establishment with that HS2 video. Lynn Gordon, have you any good gold films, documentaries to recommend? Theme for an episode? Gold films. Well, a lot of the Westerns, a lot of times they're related to mining silver and gold, if you are aware of gold and silver. But I can't think of, I think, Call of the Wild, apparently there's a new movie out, Call of the Wild movie. That was about the gold rush in the Klondike. And Buck. It's one of the first books I read, Call of the Wild. So that's about gold. I guess there's the Gold Rush. That's a documentary that's been going on for years. That's an interesting one. Brian Bainan, do you watch Grains? Ever watch Grains? Sometimes I have in the past, but recently I haven't. So I'll have to keep an eye on it. I've traded some of it, some options in the Chicago Board of Trade. Mario, if JP Morgan is hoarding all this silver and gold, why don't they stop manipulating price and let it skyrocket? Because they don't really care. They're making money through their other schemes. And I think there will be a time, though, when they might need to let that go. They're not as concerned as we are about the price, I would say. If Deutsche Bank fails, who takes ownership of their physical gold bullion? Well, I don't know if JP Morgan's got any physical gold bullion themselves. I would say it's probably the creditors. But I was looking the other day at the stock price of JP Morgan. It's done really well in the last 6 months. It's back to 10 euros, I think. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Alan Ewart, when silver skyrockets in price, do you have any tips on the best place to sell it? If you're in the UK, I recommend you just search Bullion by Post, Atkinson's, Gold Investments. They will buy it from you, or you could try to do it on eBay as well. And you got to do your homework. Make sure you compare the bids from different bullion dealers. That's all I can say. Oh, Robert, the 10 pounds that I used to boost wasn't used because they blocked it anyway, so the money wasn't spent. Graham Hobbs, Smiley Blue. More people get affected by going virus every day than coronavirus. Oh yeah, Wizard of Oz. That's a good movie. The gold shoes, slippers, the golden slippers. Yeah, or is it the silver slippers and the yellow brick road? Yeah, I'll try to find the McKenna's Gold, the Western. Yeah, the Morgans were part of the robber barons in New England. Yeah, the other thing about J.P. Morgan, the bank was actually its roots are in London, because there was a American banker called George Peabody, and he was a banker in London, I think from Baltimore, in the mid 1800s. And then he needed someone to help him to become a partner. He didn't have any children. So Junius Morgan, who was the father of JP Morgan, came to London to work for George Peabody. And George Peabody passed away, and Junius Morgan took over the bank, and it became JP Morgan. And so JP Morgan actually started out in London, and then they went to New York, of course. So Peabody. Don't sell to your local gold shop in the UK. Well, in the UK, it depends. You got to do your homework. Some jewelers don't sell to jewelers. They rip you off. Don't sell to pawnbrokers. They're going to take a lot. Sell it to a dealer. Like Gold Investments. I have a promo code there as well, Monaco64. Or you got to do your shop around. Bullion by Post, Atkinson's, Atkinson's the Bullion. That's a good one too. Do you think a doomsday clock is fake or a lie? I don't think it's either. It's just a scary, it's just something to scare people off. So yeah, I guess it's fake. Dan Scarborough, what is the most effective way to swap silver for gold when the gold-silver ratio drops precipitously? Well, there's only one way to do it, unfortunately, and it will cost you a little bit. You have to sell the silver and then take the fiat and buy the gold. There's no, unless you find someone who will do a straight barter between gold and silver. David Bradley, LIBOR going away, but sounded like many were reluctant to use the new system. Fear of manipulation with the new, or just like the old system. Well, David, I made a video this morning. You should watch it. I did a lot of work, a lot of research about what's going on with the LIBOR phase out, as I would call it. And let me give you the link. You should watch it. But I'll tell you in a nutshell what's going on. Basically, LIBOR, the reference is still being used, and I think 400 trillion of derivatives and loans are still referenced to LIBOR, even though the LIBOR market is almost dead. But why do people use it? Well, because they're used to it, and they don't want to change. And the new reference rates, SOFR in the US and SONIA in the UK, they're not really the same as the LIBOR, especially the US rate, SOFR. It's overnight rate on collateralized or a guaranteed loan, while LIBOR was a 3-month unsecured loan. So they're trying to wean people off LIBOR with something that isn't LIBOR. So watch my video. I explain it and I use a lot of references from central banks, from the regulators, and they're concerned still as well that there won't be a smooth phase out by the end of next year. If anything, people are still using it, which is amazing. Isabel Bozo, my dealer does not charge anything when you sell. Well, I'm sure they probably take they have to take a little percentage off, because when you sell to them, they're selling it as well to someone else, because most dealers don't keep an inventory, so they do make a little spread. It's not that you see, when you sell it, they won't charge you. They put it in the price. Mario, do I need to worry about my silver not being in something airtight? Will it get ruined? No, I mean, it will tarnish silver. It's not like gold, but unless it's a collector's item, it's fine. You still get paid for the amount of silver. Of course, it's probably nicer if you keep it, covered so it doesn't tarnish. I have here some old silver coins. They're not bullion coins. This is a half crown sterling, and this is a $50. So it is silver. It's not perfectly, it's tarnished a little bit, but it'd still get the same price. So you shouldn't really worry about it. Time will tell. In your experience, have you ever seen such economic disorder? I would say it's more monetary disorder. The economy, if you think about what an economy is, it's people, resources, businesses, and I think the only problem is the monetary system. But I haven't seen the monetary system like this in the major countries ever. I hail from Brazil. In Brazil, it was normal. We've had 4 or 5 different currencies in the last 50 years, but in the Western world, No, I haven't. Damien Wright, thank you for your super chat donation. Aussie dollar, thank you. 50 Aussie dollars. That's nice. Thank you very much. Billy Bob says Atkinsons are buying above spot price on certain silver coins. Well, that's a sign that they're having difficulty get stock, and that they have people who want to buy. That's an interesting point there. John the Glass retracted his message. Isabel Bozo, some commentators say repo spike coincided with the DOJ moving against JP Morgan for precious metals manipulation. What do you think? I think it's only speculation. It could be partly, but I don't think JP Morgan is that omnipotent in the repo market. I think it could have something to do with LIBOR. I spoke about it in my video earlier today. And why is that? Well, because there's still 400 trillion of derivatives based on LIBOR, and LIBOR needs to be phased out. But LIBOR is unsecured loans, right? Interbank offered rate. It's a rate on unsecured loans. The new SOFR, which is the US benchmark that the Fed wants people to use, is based on secured loans. So what repos are also secured. So if people want to move away from the unsecured LIBOR contract, if they want to get their exposure away from LIBOR, what's the best thing to do? Well, it's to go into the repo market, because the repo is going to be like the SOFR. So I think it could be because of that as well. It could be several things. It could be the JP Morgan thing. Some people have speculated that it was done to help bail out Deutsche Bank. There's a lot of different opinions. Some people say that it's because of the hedge funds and the fact that they're starting to use a lot of repo. I think it has to do with the LIBOR as well. Damon Wright, oh, you're welcome, Damon. Thank you for your donation. Again, your favorite uncle. The most depressing part about history is that it's driven by different ethnicities tearing each other apart, similar to Animal Kingdom. Yeah, unfortunately, the powers that be, they use that strategy. They keep us at each other. Why? Well, because it's easier to rule people when they're focusing on fighting amongst each other instead of looking at the real problem, which a lot of times are the people in power. The watcher likes my hat. Yeah, I said earlier in the video, I've got I'll write it here, winter. I've got a new promo code in the Teespring store, and I just designed the new hats. There's white and black, and you get 20% off everything in the store for about a month. So if you like the hat. Sender 81, some say Trump actually wants gold and silver to go up to make dollar go down. Therefore, start investigation on silver rigging. It's possible, yeah, because the dollar can only go down if it goes down against gold and silver. It's been going down against gold already, but silver, not so much. John the Glass believes in the golden rule, the men with the gold rules. Yeah, that's true. Also, I like the other golden rule as well. You know, treat others like you would like them to treat you. The change in LIBOR rates in Britain will be the end of high street banks. Yeah, well, it could be. It's very difficult to say what's going to happen, but it could affect even someone who's borrowed some money from a finance company, who's taken a car loan or who's done or a mortgage. The mortgages are more serious in the U.S. Uh, according to the Bank of England, or well, FCA guy he's going to become the head of the Bank of England in a month. He spoke in the States about LIBOR. He said most of the U.S. adjustable rate mortgages are referenced to LIBOR, and they're still doing it. So it could even affect adjustable rate mortgages in California, LIBOR. Someone asked me, does every country use LIBOR? And that question is strange because it's not countries, it's financial institutions all around the world. My wife used to work in the city back in the 90s, and she was telling me that she used to do business for Korean banks, and they used to deal in LIBOR. So any company, financial company or corporation that wants access to the dollar market will most probably think about using LIBOR. So it's very important. Yeah, Pablo Pina, gold in the long term, actually, it doesn't really follow the dollar index anymore. The dollar index bottomed in 2008 at 70.69. We're now around 97, 98. I don't know exactly. Gold back then was at 1,000, and now it's at almost 1,600. So with the dollar index going up, gold has gone up as well. Stan Spornak, always nice to hear from you. Gotta get me some Billy mugs. Yeah, Billy, he wasn't here this morning. I did a video. It was a long video about LIBOR. And he was still asleep. Rainbird, yeah, I spoke about that yesterday in my video. What's happening? All the yields are starting to drop quite sharply again in Europe. So, and a lot of banks are charging people to put money in there. It's not surprising the euro is going down versus gold. Yeah, it closed at 1460 on Friday. I think it closed at an all-time high in Aussie dollar, in New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. Yeah, the only reason we aren't at all-time highs in sterling is because sterling kind of moved down quite sharply just at towards the end of last year. A lot of people still thought we're going to leave without a deal. And gold went up to almost 1,300, and then we didn't leave without a deal, and the pound went up a lot, and so the gold price in pounds went down. Matthew, I'm from Suffolk, and so many homes being built around here. It's unbelievable. One big building site. Yeah, that's the finance. The a lot of people who have savings, especially pensioners, more well-off people, they'd rather buy property to get a rental income than leave it in the bank. And that drives that market, I think, as well. One thing I thought was interesting, I had to get a new driver's license or driving license because mine was going to expire. And I did it a couple of weeks ago after the UK supposedly left the EU, January 31st. And I got this driving license on the 6th of February. And it still has the EU flag. So over here. So are we still, have we really left the EU? So my new driving license still has a EU flag on it. It's got a UK with the EU flag around it. Yeah, Menho, Donahue, I do think they're consolidating, even though gold did fairly well last week. I think they could be about to move higher in the short term, even though as a trader, of course, that's important to know. In the longer term, it shouldn't matter though, but I think they're looking pretty good. Yeah, what a shambles, 0.2% interest rate. Yeah, especially when the cost of living is going up by 4 or 5%. Peter Schiff does stand-up comedy. I hadn't seen that. Billy Bob, we weren't even close to leaving the EU. Yeah, I think it's like I don't understand why the driving license still has the EU flag if we left the EU. Weird. Bitcoin going higher this year. Yeah, we've seen quite a big correction in the cryptocurrencies today, I noticed. But if you're involved in cryptocurrencies, and I have some, I think unless you're a trader, I think the best thing is to just hold on to it and not be concerned about the moves. I mean, Bitcoin hasn't gone down as much, but I can see that Ethereum is down 4%, EOS down almost 10, Bitcoin Cash down 8. So but they have been moving up quite a lot recently, so it's a normal correction. Brian Bain, thoughts on the what's happening in China? Yeah, it's not good, but there's a lot of opinions of how it started and what it's all about. But it will. Some people say, "Oh, that's why if the world economy slows down, it's because of this thing." And I don't want to say the name, but I think it's only a trigger. I think if our system wasn't as leveraged and so much into debt, of course, it would have affected it. But if it hadn't been for this, something else would have triggered the slowdown. So that's what I think about it in terms of the financial markets. Low blood pressure, yeah. This hat is almost the same that I've just designed on Teespring. You can get basically the same hat. It doesn't have this color here, but yeah, you can get a white or a black hat, MONERO 64. And right now I've got 20% off on Teespring store until the middle of March. Just use the promo code winter 2020. Durgesh Patel, the sovereign, is it worth the 15% premium above spot? Well, it depends who you buy from. Sub dealers premium are higher than others, but I don't think it's a 15 premium now. Are you talking about the UK or are you in India? I'm not sure. But the premium can get very high, but I don't think it's as high as 15% right now to buy it. Yeah, Sander says I already have used that, but I shouldn't really use it. The name of that thing in China. Mary, are there prepping camps in the UK like in the USA? I haven't heard of those. No, I don't think there are. Hi, what a shambles. No, I don't have any thoughts on the Bitcoin mining in China. I think there's quite a bit of Bitcoin mining in Russia as well, in Siberia. IB or IB, do you still see oil going up over 100 and down to 40? Yeah, I definitely think we could still see that even though oil has come off. It's a possibility. Billy is just jumped off the sofa and he's now asleep on the floor. Just wanted to get off the sofa. So Durgesh Patel says that he is in India. That's a pretty high premium for a sovereign. That tells me that there's a lot of demand in India for physical gold, especially bullion gold. Billy's still in the room. He is. Yeah, Tom Seward, you can buy 1 gram of gold. I've got a little coin. It's a 1/20th of an ounce. It's a little maple leaf. So yeah, you don't have to buy an ounce. It's like Bitcoin. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can buy Satoshis. Mario, do you follow FOA blog? No. I haven't heard of that blog, actually. I'll have a look at it. Yeah, Sandra81. I've been watching a lot of, Eric Martinson from Peak Prosperity. He's done a great job with his reporting about what's happening in China. He's increased a lot of his views because of that. Full of Hope, loved your video on LIBOR. Yeah, I did a lot of research for that. Over 3 days, I was looking into that. And the thing about LIBOR, I didn't realize it was as serious as it is, because I thought people weren't using it anymore, but they still are. And the most worrying thing is that the regulators and the central banks are still concerned. You saw that the FCA head even traveled to New York to talk about LIBOR last July, and he's going to become the head of the Bank of England in a month's time. DB stupid, FOFO is free gold theory. Bland GP is a follower of that theory, even though he doesn't preach it. So what's free gold? I've never heard of that, free gold. Oh, it's a private blog, okay. Eddie Darmody, when buying gold, 1 ounce or smaller coins to the same value, what do you think? If you're in the UK, I recommend sovereigns, which are just under 1/4 of an ounce. But it's all up to you. If you have 10 million pounds or $10 million, maybe buy one of the kilo bars, or buy a 400-ounce bar or coins. If you don't have as much money, yeah, buy smaller coins. Jack B, gold has no official standing. Yeah, it doesn't need any official standing because it's money. It's accepted everywhere around the world. But the only reason the Federal Reserve note or the Bank of England note or the euro need official standing is because no one would accept those pieces of paper if they didn't have official standing. So there you go. How do you know the repo figures? Who's publishing the numbers? Yeah, they're from the New York Fed. They publish it every day. Just go to the New York Fed. I'll put the link to it here. I can find it right here. I look at it regularly. New York Fed. Where is it? Let's get the repo. Okay. This is their, they've got the page set up for tomorrow, so they haven't published it yet. but it looks like they took out the data from last week. So the thing to do is to do a screenshot if you want to keep track of it. So that's where you find the repo stuff from the New York Fed, that link there. Gold coins are not taxed when being sold here in the UK. So sovereigns are legal tender. So there's no capital gains on sovereigns. There is capital gains on other coins that are not coins of the realm or gold bars. So that's why in the UK it's good to have sovereigns. Yeah, even I was reading about France. If you buy gold bars or bullion coins, you have to, even if you don't make a capital gain, you have to pay 11% when you sell your gold in France. But if you do it with, let's say, a $50 maple leaf or $50 US, there's no tax in France because they consider it a foreign currency. So there are ways around the tax. You just have to do your homework. Paul Flamand, thank you for your euros. I appreciate it. €3.49. I'll quickly swap that over to gold, hopefully. Full of Hope says they're weighing jewelry at a lot of airports. James Samuels, I think it will make it this year. All-time high in US dollars. Tom Stewart, yeah, being in the UK, I prefer having sovereigns. Yeah. A few years ago, I had a few Krugerrands, and the dealer actually exchanged them for me, like with no, he was just gave me the sovereigns for it, charged me a little bit. Yeah, sovereigns or half sovereigns, even the 1 ounce Britannias, they're legal tender as well. Value-wise, in fiat, I have more gold than silver. But I think that's all personal. Some people might just want silver. Some people might just want gold. Some people might want both. It's up to the individual. Robert Kiyosaki is predicting a global depression. I think he's right. Even though I have a good friend in the city of London, and he watched my video from yesterday about the deflationary environment, and he said you should stop using the word depression because it will drive people away. You should use the word stagnation. I'm not too sure I agree with him. I think I'd rather be more honest because I think for a lot of people, the average person, the last 11 years hasn't been, it's been depression, I think. A lot of people have had to take a pay cut. A lot of people are having to work 2 or 3 jobs. A lot of pensioners that are supposed to be living without having to work are having to go to work to supplement their income. So I think it's more than stagnation. And I agree with Robert Kiyosaki. Silver is too heavy. That's true. During the German hyperinflation in 1923, gold did a lot better than silver, even though silver did well as well. do a few, about 5 more minutes. That will take us to the hour mark. That's usually how long it goes on for. Mary, where do you see gold going in 2020 besides the JP Morgan Gold Vault? I think a lot of the Eastern countries are going to keep buying it. And even European countries now are starting to buy it. And you could even see countries in Western Europe start thinking about buying it. I saw the other day that the US wants to impose tariffs on Airbus. I think the Europeans are getting more and more, even though they're still big allies of the US. That would be a big shocker, like if France or Germany or Italy, their central banks bought gold, even though I don't think so. So I think it will keep going to the east. Jack B, again, I think you've got it backwards. He says silver is not backed by central banks as in the 1930s. Silver and gold don't have to be backed by anyone. They have intrinsic value. I think it was their paper that used to be backed by silver. Yeah, I enjoyed the interview with Lynette Zhang. Hopefully I'll do some more. Maybe I can interview her one day. Who knows? DB stupid. I have no idea, if that will happen in China. It could. How many, how much gold will be shaken out of private holders? Gold is saving, isn't it? So sometimes you need saving for a rainy day. So it could. Full of hope, house building craze in Ireland. Yeah, someone just told me also in Suffolk here in England as well. Vajra says she feels Lynette is just selling numismatics and predicting a gold standard return. I don't think so. She does do numismatic coins, but she does also other kinds of coins. And I'm not really sure she's calling for a gold standard. You should be on your own gold standard and silver standard yourself. Don't wait for, I don't think you could be waiting a long time to have a gold standard again. No, nice to see you. Don't panic, just keep stacking. I agree. All right, last question here. Can you tell if gold is getting stronger or dollar just getting weaker, apart from comparing to other currencies? Whenever a currency, you see, whenever a currency goes down, if gold goes up in dollars, that means the dollar is going down. So the dollar is buying less gold. So that's how it works. Very simple. The other point is you have to look at how the other currencies do against the dollar. If they stay the same and the price of gold goes up against dollar, it will also go up against the other currencies. Or if the other currencies go down versus the dollar and gold goes up versus the dollar, gold will go even higher versus the other currencies. What's your view on ships not docking, refusing from China? Yeah, I think it's getting serious. As I said, I think we're going to soon find out how serious this thing is. Someone made a comment earlier saying that there's less news about what's happening there and that the markets are going to go back up, but I don't know. All right. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I think we had quite a few people here today, 225 right now, 100 thumbs up. And if any of you are new to the channel, think about subscribing. And I'll talk to you later on tomorrow. Take care. Bye.